this either may be in season or out of season, depending on when you're listening to this. Like at Halloween, when you knock at a door, you say trick or treat.
Mm-hmm.
There's this guy, he gives kids the option between candy or a potato. Apparently, 25 kids one year chose the potato over candy. And then he's since become known as the potato house in his neighborhood. Yeah.
That's just weird.
Why would the kids pick the potato? Like, what are you gonna do with potato?
Why wouldn't you though? Every house is giving out. You probably want to see is like, is this even real? Like, is this?
You get curious.
Yeah.
If you're a kid.
And you get a potato. Yep.
When I was a kid, there was a weird guy in our neighborhood. We still went to his house when we were trick-or-treating. He gave out, so he filled up our bags with candy one year, and he's like, hold on, the best candy is yet to come. Hold still. So he goes, and we're like, okay, what's this going to be? We're like, and he comes back with a bunch of Bibles and just gives it to us. And we're just like, what the hell is this?
Speaking of Bibles and holidays, I saw this one meme where it had, like Mary and Joseph, and like they're with the baby Jesus. And Joseph's married, because Joseph's basically like the first stepdad, right? So he's wearing this t-shirt that says, I'm not the stepdad, I'm just the dad that stepped up.
Greetings and fist bumps. This is the Raised Eyebrow Podcast, where we hum and haw about the weirdness of humanity, because somebody's got to do it. And we are your hosts, Kojo, Alex, and Mike. In this week's episode, do you ever wonder about obscure laws that exist or existed from around the world? Well, we do. So we're going to talk about it, and we're going to poke fun at a few of them for this entire episode. Plus, we'll probably learn a few things along the way. That, or we'll open up way more questions as we go along.
Hey.
Alex, say something.
Oh, hi, yeah. How are you?
How do you feel about laws, or the law?
Well, I think we should just skirt all laws, anarchism, because that worked out so well.
Right. So do you want like a capitalist anarchy, or like a socialist anarchy, or just like Wild West anarcho-capitalism? What are we?
Well, let's see. If I was somebody on the extreme left, I would say I don't know the answer to that question, and that's very offensive.
That's a good answer. You get offended over pretty much everything.
Oh yeah.
over laws existing and over laws not existing.
But they're like, I guess, like, to kind of set the stage, like, laws are meant to a society deems the law appropriate enough to enforce because whatever their values are, this thing needs to exist in order to kind of keep everybody not necessarily in line, but like you don't have people stepping out and kind of doing things that could harm other people, hurt other people. That's why we have like speed limits, don't kill, that kind of stuff.
You can't marry camels.
Yep.
That's a thing.
Yeah. I hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can marry roller coasters. So.
Oh, yeah, but then you probably could marry camels. We should look into that.
I'm sure
But
there's
anyway,
a place that allows that to happen.
Yeah. The thing that always struck me weird about marriage is like a lot of people are okay if you like marry a roller coaster or a tree or something like that. But as soon as like two dudes want to get married, it's like, whoa, everyone loses their shit. Like, how?
Can't allow this.
Yeah. So you're okay with like human roller coaster relations. That's totally fine. But
well, what if I start marrying a dude? We can't allow this.
We always have to be upset about something, so we have to pick one of them.
yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Or the one argument I heard against gay marriage was, well, what if two guys get married so that the other guy can like use his health benefits at his company? It's like, well, why can't a guy and a girl do that too? Like, that's perfectly logical, right? Just saying.
Nah, people.
Got a giant hole in your argument.
We still have to pick between the potato and...
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. This is kind of what our society's come down to. Yeah.
Trick or treat.
Yeah. That's like your options when it comes to your next election. It's either do you want a dried up orange or a potato?
They're going to be on camera a lot,
Yeah.
talking. Sometimes about laws. But, okay, so let's get into it. Do you guys have any interesting, weird, quirky laws from anywhere in the world that caught your attention?
I do. Actually, I have one that answers probably one of the oldest and lamest jokes in the world. Well, not really answers it, but at least it can't happen here. Why did the chicken cross the road? So apparently in Georgia, it is illegal for chickens to cross roads.
Why?
I don't know. I could not
Okay,
find
let
an
me answer to that. Is it maybe because the chicken might get kicked by a truck or something, like run over by a truck or something?
Wait, but
could
who
be.
gets, like, who gets fined? Is it the chicken? Like, do you kill the chicken?
Yeah, how would you enforce that? Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
Like, do you...
Also,
yeah.
is this Georgia, like, the state, or Georgia the country?
You know, I wouldn't put it past either one.
You did not research this well.
I'm assuming I assumed it was a state because a lot of the other references I saw in that one particular article were states. But Georgia, the country, I could
Potentially.
Yeah.
I feel like they're more anarchy-based with their chicken crossings.
My theory in terms of like why, I think it's just because probably had to do with farming, is that they don't want to have people like having chickens cross roads because it probably creates a lot of traffic problems or something like that.
Or you have your chicken pooping in my side of my...
Create a chicken turf war.
Yeah, I just want to know like how these things come to be.
Is it perhaps maybe because maybe there's so many chickens in Georgia and they have to like maybe reduce? It makes no
Maybe.
sense. Like, I mean, can you imagine like the most important things in the city, and this is one of the things for them to think about?
Yeah. Well, like right now we have affordability crisis. There's like wars around the world. There's all these other things that are happening. You have a looming election, and banning TikTok is the topic of the day.
Well, that gets interesting. I don't want to get into the political angle of that, but we could take that off off air, perhaps. I don't want China to come
Yeah,
after
it's a
me.
distraction. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably what this was, is like, there's probably like a politically contentious issue and somebody just needed something to distract, and yeah.
Mm. No, if I had to guess, it would be that the chicken owner can't let the chicken cross the road. So the owner of the chicken has to make sure those things are under control.
Yeah, but
That's how
the question
I
is,
interpret it.
why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side.
so the owner can, to get away from its owner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Drive-by chicken attack. Drive-by road crossings. This has gone on way too long.
From
Yeah.
that movie where the chickens were trying to escape.
Chicken Run.
Chicken Run.
Oh yeah,
That was a good
Chicken
movie.
Run. Yeah, it was. All right, next law,
Yeah.
Kojo. Go for it.
So I think this is probably the oldest out of the points that I had on my list, and this is a British parliamental rule. It goes back to 1313, and it's illegal to wear a suit of armor in British Parliament.
Oh, I heard about this. Is it because you're disrespecting, like, the royal, like the monarchy, essentially?
I don't know, but this is 1313.
They just list these laws.
Who walks around with,
Yeah, it was a while ago.
with an armor suit on?
That's fair. You can't just access this back then. So, okay. Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah, there was, I can't remember what show it was. There was one guy who did it. He wore a suit of armor and he went to the British Parliament.
Oh, really?
And then he went up to a cop and they explained it to a cop, And the cop's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Well, you gonna arrest me?" He's like, "No, I'm okay."
Was this Conan O'Brien, maybe?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I think it was a bit by a late night.
But that's the other thing with a
Yeah.
lot of laws is that if society doesn't care about it or enough to enforce them, then that's why you get these obscure
Right.
laws or laws that just like legalizing marijuana and stuff like that. Like it's
Yeah.
everyone's smoking pot. It's like why enforce
Right.
it?
Yeah. At one point in Toronto, before it got legal, cops just didn't even care.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is not worth my time.
Nope.
Unless you're like, I don't know, like deliberately smoking in a place where it's like now you're just inconveniencing
Mhm.
society. But on the street, like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just don't be that obvious. Okay, I got one. Did you know that it's illegal to run out of gas on the German Autobahn? It's true. It's part of their laws. So the Autobahn that's like the name for their highway, and it's notorious for having like crazy driving speeds. So if you're like a car enthusiast or you just like to drive fast, you could do so at over 100 miles per hour or 160 kilometers per hour for our metric system brethren. So there's a lot of freedom to drive fast in the German Autobahn. But if you run out of gas, you face a big fine. And if you decide to walk to a gas station, you also get a fine because it's illegal to walk on a highway. So you're kind of fucked. And the reason is because Germans believe that you have the power to keep your car properly gassed up. So it's on you. So yeah, if you run out of gas, it's your responsibility. And also walking along the highway is unsafe. So
So
yeah.
does this apply to electric cars? You ran out of juice.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess the gas problem doesn't apply, but you can't walk on the highway. So like if you're stranded, I guess you just call a tow truck because
So then
get
you're still
fined.
gonna get fined
don't get
anyways.
caught.
Yeah.
well if the tow truck comes, you just like hang out in the car while the tow truck does its thing. I don't know. There's got to be some loophole.
I'm
But
trying to imagine
don't
trying to push your car and then explaining to the cop that no, I still have gas. I'm exercising.
just a workout.
Yeah, it's probably just a safety issue. I saw that same law for Ohio too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Ohio. You can't run out of gas in Ohio.
But I mean, you don't plan to run out of gas.
Exactly.
Imagine your wife took your car, forgot to put gas in it, and then the next morning you're driving and you run out of gas.
So like it's probably a habit for them to like they have to check their gas when they get in the car. It's like seatbelt, gas tank. Like
That's a
these
good
are
habit.
The habits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think. Otherwise, like you might be in trouble, right? Or just don't go on the highway. But yeah, the Germans, they're all about efficiency.
Yeah, they are.
Keep your gas tanks full. Alex, you're up.
So this one's kind of interesting. So rats are not allowed to enter the province of Alberta in Canada, which I think
What?
it's raddest.
He's pretty rad.
I think the
Yeah.
funny thing is Mike's expression because you almost spilled your tea.
just trying to drink my tea over here.
So they're considered a pest that destroys crops, spreads disease, which is true. And the rat control program has been put in place since the 1950s to keep them out of the province.
So are they
Yeah.
checking like immigration style?
Because they're illegal rats.
Presumably, but I don't know. Like I think that we need to be a little bit more inclusive in society
I disagree.
towards
Ban
rats.
all those rats out of there. Don't let them in.
Yeah,
Do you need passports for dogs when you're traveling with them?
you do.
So then you need passport for rats.
If you're traveling internationally with them, yeah. Or I think even interprovincially as well.
Have you met anyone that had a pet rat?
Yeah. It's kind of weird person too from my high school.
checks out.
Yes, they're just strange pets to have. Just get like a chinchilla or like a ferret or something. They're not
hamster.
weird
Go
like
hamster.
or hamsters. Yeah,
They're in the same.
hamsters are fun. Plus hamsters, you get
family,
like
right?
those tube things going around your house,
Yeah, exactly.
and then it like dies in the middle of your wall, and you have to like get it out.
Okay, so this is a bit interesting. So in Poland, you're not allowed to wear a Winnie the Pooh t-shirt. Yeah.
Really?
I've heard of this.
And I mean, so
Wait, why though?
the argument is pretty much because if you look at Winnie the Pooh, he's only wearing a shirt, no underwear.
He doesn't wear pants.
But what about like Donald Duck?
Same, I
He
guess.
doesn't wear pants.
Is it specifically?
I think that a
Winnie the Pooh?
lot of cartoon would fall under this category.
Yeah, I guess so. What about like the Ninja Turtles? They're
Right.
naked. They even make jokes about it in like the TV show and the movies.
Yeah, apparently it's a bit of indecent. Like it doesn't set a good example for kids, according to them.
It's taboo. They're conservative in Poland. Our cartoon characters are fully clothed.
What if it's
No
you
risque.
know how kids love their favorite toy? And
Mhm.
how do you tell your kid no, you can't have this because it's illegal?
They just can't be aware of it.
No, it's easy. Just empty threats.
Oh yeah, because you're saying like the law is no T-shirts with
Right.
Winnie the Pooh, but like if are there toys with Winnie the Pooh? Can they play with them? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have questions for Poland authorities. Okay, next. This one's weird. Apparently, it's illegal to ride a cow while drunk in Scotland. I don't know. So,
So this is a type of
But you can ride cows though.
okay, so some context before you get any crazy ideas. You should know that you could get a ticket for drunk cow riding in Scotland. Technically, the full law comes from 1872, which mandated people not to be drunk when in charge of a cow, a horse, a carriage, or a steam engine. So that begs the question, why did they add drunk cow riding in this law? And also, was this something that kept on happening and society just kind of couldn't get a handle on it? Like, why implement this specific law with cow riding? It's weird.
Yeah, it'd be uncomfortable to ride because they're so wide. Like your legs would just be sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what was
That
going
would-
on in my mind is like, so then are people actually doing this? Is this something that happens a lot?
Yeah, that's the question. How did this get implemented? Maybe the laws were like the authorities were just trying to be safe. A lot of drunk people on the steam engines.
Well, this is not a horse, it's a cow. Well, cows included.
Maybe it's something the young the rowdy boys of the time would get drunk and jump on cows. Scottish whiskey's strong.
This one's still on Scotland. You must. So if somebody asks to use your toilet, you have to allow them to use it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Scotland has a lot of these like weird kind of custom etiquette laws.
But what if they're the FBI and they're trying to get into your house? Because usually that's what people
Yeah.
do.
It may be. Yeah.
Still got to do it. It's polite. Can I jump in with another toilet one?
Yeah.
So in Switzerland, it's illegal to flush after 10 p.m. So it's considered noise pollution to flush the toilet.
What if you have a
after-
silent toilet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you're fine.
But what if you're like going to the toilet and that's noisier than the actual flushing itself?
So many questions. Correction, it's not actually illegal. It's not actually a criminal act. It's just considered rude. So
Oh.
not actually a law.
Okay, so just flush away.
Yeah. Fact checking.
Yeah.
It's taboo in society to flush after 10 p.m.
That's interesting. Oh,
Certain apart.
do you
Yeah,
know
go ahead.
in certain places when you flush, it goes the opposite way?
Australia. The Simpsons did that. But they.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
water spins the other way
Is
in
it?
the pool. Yeah, that's just
Is it something about the Earth or is
it has to do with the Earth's
Right.
rotation.
I can't remember if it was debunked or not.
Wait, let's look it up. What is spin the opposite
Yeah,
way in Australia?
there is an explanation.
So this is from flowwise.com.au, as in Australia. So the myth stems from something called the Coriolis effect, which makes air spin in different directions based on what hemisphere you are living in. When it comes to toilet flushing, however, the truth is that the amount of water flushed is way too small to be affected by the Coriolis effect.
Okay.
So most likely it's just based on where the jets are pointing,
Mhm.
because there's like jets that are angled under the rim of the bowl. That's why it goes in that direction.
Gotcha. They just point it the
Mhm.
other way.
Maybe could be a
It's
manufacturing.
cultural. It's cultural.
It's like driving on the road. They just point their jets in a different direction. That could be what it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
They do it with steering wheels. They'll do
Yeah.
it with toilet jets.
Yeah.
Go, Joe. You're up.
Okay, so this falls a bit closer to this previous topic, because there's a reason why not to, but and it applies to a few countries. So in India, there's an act, is the Act of 1934, and it's illegal to fly a kite in India. And other countries that this applies to is Victoria, Australia, and then what else? Argentina also has the same. You can't fly a kite, but according to the Australian law, the reason why you're not supposed to fly a kite is because it's like you're disturbing other people.
That's
So
boring.
they have a lot of these laws where even playing, if you're playing in the park and it's disturbing somebody, you can be fined for that. But I was like, flying a
jeez.
kite, isn't it silent to fly a kite? And why is it illegal?
Yeah. I guess it's like you're running around in
You're
open
happy.
space. Yeah.
That's kind of strange.
Too much happiness with these kids in Australia.
Yeah.
Those,
Ban it.
well, from what I was thinking about is usually when you're flying a kite, your kite can get tangled on electric wires.
That's what I was thinking.
Could
like
be.
it disrupts, I don't know, infrastructure or something.
Yeah.
But nope, it's just too much noise. This is why there's a drinking problem in Australia. Suppress all the fun. It all comes out later on. No, I kid, Australian friends. I kid. Next law. Did you know it's illegal to swear in the UAE?
Ooh.
Apparently, it's illegal to swear in
We're in
Kenya as
trouble
well.
then.
Yeah, they're not listening to us. But in the UAE, so it's a Muslim nation, of course, but they have it's called Article 373 of the UAE Penal Code, which says swearing disgraces the honor of the modesty of a
Mhm.
person. So super conservative
I
from that
respect that.
aspect. Yeah, I mean, it's part of their customs, right? This isn't just for saying inappropriate words out loud. It includes indecent physical gestures, so
Ooh.
middle finger. And it also extends to your text messages and social media as well. So not even emojis are allowed. In fact, earlier this year, the British Express reported that a man sent an angry message to a car dealer, and he seemingly did him wrong. And then he was threatened with 3 weeks in jail for his choice of words. So when you're in the UAE, just don't get angry, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, listen to our episode on swearing.
Yeah, check that out.
I
Yeah.
guess it can't be played
Good
in
segue there.
UAE.
Yeah. There was a.
Or if it's played, don't listen to it out loud.
I want to see the list of swear words they have. That'd be like a good master list. We work in advertising, and I had to, for one website, I had to write down a list of swear words because users could have wrote whatever in there. So we had to make sure that we flagged everything. So I had to like go through and write down like every single swear word that I could think of, and then go look them up and like add more to it. Yeah, that was an interesting assignment.
How big was your list?
It's like hundreds.
Damn.
You should make a book.
Was it?
Yeah, I hope I still
Probably.
kept it. I gotta look it up. I just like this master list of swear words. It took like 2 days to just get everything in there because I had to like check like obscure sources, and you had to go through like, you know, what would a different culture swear as. Yeah.
Did you do like extensions to different words?
Oh yeah,
like-
different spellings too, right? Like
Right. Or like F that.
yeah,
F you, like phrases.
yeah, pretty much.
There's a funny meme going around where it's like what different common sayings in an office environment mean from a swearing perspective. So like, we'll circle back actually means I'm fucked, or F that, you know.
Yeah.
Or like just checking in means F you. Yeah. Who's up?
Oh, I think I am. So for my next one, this one's an interesting one because it's coming out of Germany, and you know, Germans are known to produce a lot of great beer, wine, other kind of spirits like Jägermeister. So I'm kind of surprised that they have this particular law in their books. So you cannot be unconscious at your own wedding. Yeah.
Seems like sound advice to me.
Or maybe they're just missing half the point of weddings. So, you know, open bar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. German beer is pretty good.
Yeah.
So it just kind of teaches their society to have strong alcohol tolerance, I guess. I don't know. It's either that or don't drink.
There was this one there's this one couple where they got married, and then so they had, you know, reception and everything like that, and then at the ceremony after, or sorry, at the reception after the ceremony, the bride was dancing very promiscuously with like some of the groomsmen and some of the other guys on the dance floor, and the new husband got kind of jealous, and he just basically just ended the marriage right on the spot. Like the ink hadn't even dried on their contract.
Seems like a toxic relationship. I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah, I mean, probably just called it early, you know.
Yeah. That guy was on Love is Blind the following month. No, I'm joking. I feel like that's who they cast.
Yeah, probably. Eh?
Just look for weird stories. Hey, you want to be on a reality show?
The thing I don't get about that show is it. Okay, so Love is Blind, right?
Uh-huh.
But if you're on that show, you know full well the person who's on the other side of that glass is a 10. It's not really blind. You know they're going to be hot.
But they're not always like traditionally hot. Like they're generally the people on that show are pretty good looking, but they're not all like 10s, like physically speaking. There's like 8s, 7s.
Yeah, but you're still getting like a good crop from, you know,
Yeah.
a good selection. Yeah.
Like you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
And if they have a
But
good personality and they're still like an 8 is still, you know, good. Like there's nothing wrong with an 8. There's nothing wrong with a 7. You know?
You're saying they'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It's like
It'll
what?
be
It's
fine.
not really blind because you know you're not getting, you know, like a -5 or something.
So love is
It's not blind. I want to see just like them put like just anybody.
Right.
I just want like a crackhead on the other side.
see if anything works out.
Yeah. Like, is it actually blind? And then they open it up and there's like some guy, like no teeth, right?
Great
Mullet,
personality.
greasy. Yeah, but
Phenomenal
great personality, but he's just looks like he just rolled out of a
Right.
dumpster.
But he understands you.
Yeah. Yeah. How
That's
blind is
important.
love now?
Yeah, that'd be a good version of love is like just like -3s meeting like 3s, and then seeing if you know, it works out. Anyway, we've poo-pooed the reality
Yeah.
show genre. Kojo
Is it
next?
me? Okay, so this is 2014 law in Russia, and it's a kind of weird law because I don't think people walk around telling what they're wearing underneath their pants. So it's illegal for a woman to have wear lacy underwear. I mean, there's a valid point reason why you're not supposed to wear that, but I don't think a woman is going around and it's like, "Hey, I'm wearing lacy underwears today," or,
How do you enforce
or
this?
like
Yeah,
one of those metal detectors for like detecting lacy underwear.
yeah, that's kind of strange.
So, I mean, okay, so the argument is your underwear should have a minimum of 6% cotton and it's for health reasons. It makes sense. But if I'm wearing a lacy underwear, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, that's
Are you though?
No comment.
He's laughing.
lacy men's underwear.
Yeah. I don't know. That seems strange coming out of Russia. They seem to be like a very stable country. Like 88% of them voted for Putin in the last election. So they're definitely all on the same wavelength, right? So
For sure.
definitely nothing fishy about that.
Indicates stability to me.
For somebody.
Oh, you're wearing the
Yep.
Winnie the Pooh underwear.
Not in Poland. Not in Poland. This is definitely the weirdest one I found. Apparently, it's illegal to reincarnate without permission in China.
Oh, I heard
Which-
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, which begs the question, like jumping off the Russian one, like how do you enforce this? So apparently Tibetan Buddhist monks are not allowed to reincarnate after they die unless they have been granted permission from the Chinese government. So I'm not sure how to enforce this, but China is known for having some strict laws, so I guess this is one of them.
But again, the question
I
is,
think
how
that
do you
has to
even
do
do
with
that?
the reincarnate. Well, I think it had something to do with like the Dalai Lama and Buddhism.
Yeah, it's just symbolic
Yeah.
because they want to, like, they took over Tibet, and so they want to show like we own Tibet now, so
Yeah.
no reincarnation. Yeah, there's some good movies on that if you're too lazy to dive into the history. 7 Days in Tibet with Brad Pitt. It's an older classic movie, true story
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good. This traveler goes to Tibet, befriends the Dalai Lama when he was a kid.
Mm.
Before China took over Tibet, and then obviously now the Dalai Lama he escaped. I think is he in India now? Alex, do you know?
I think
Where's
so.
that guy now? Nepal, India? I don't know. Somewhere not in Tibet, but he is the spiritual leader of Tibet. So China's just kind of saying, "Hey, we own you."
There's also the Panchen Lama, which is the successor to the Dalai Lama.
Panchen, never heard of this.
So I guess pronounce that. And so while the Dalai Lama is alive, he, I guess, meditates. I don't know exactly what the practice is here. I'm not Buddhist. I've never really studied it, but from the documentary I was watching, so he would identify who his successor will be, which could be just like a random person in the world. I don't know how they do it, but this was like a Panchen Lama, which was like a young child somewhere in China. And he never met him or anything like that. He just identified that this will be the successor to the Dalai Lama. And after hearing about that, China ended up not taking the child, but like they put the child into, I guess, government custody. And the Dalai, like he's not with any of the Buddhists or anything like that. And essentially, so once the Dalai Lama dies, then this Panchen Lama would essentially become the Dalai Lama.
Oh, so the
And
idea
how does China feel
is
about
to
this?
basically just kill him out, like just.
Yeah, it's just a way to kind of control the religion. So there is like another successor as well who the Buddhist religion is going to move to rather than this Panchen Lama. Or maybe I have it backwards where China's saying that this guy's the actual successor and not this other one. But there's a lot of like controversy around the Panchen Lama. It's worth looking into. It's a very interesting story about how the longevity of this particular religion is kind of under threat by someone who's trying to control it, essentially. It's not at the hands of those who believe in the faith.
Yeah, it's political, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything's political.
I heard this whole
true.
thing started with the fact that Tibet is where a lot of the Chinese water sources come from. So all the water, like all the rivers.
That makes sense, though.
It starts from there to China. So if they gain grounds of the lands of Tibet, then they can own it and control it, do whatever they want.
Yeah, resources. Makes sense.
That is interesting, actually, yeah. I mean, because you have the Himalaya there, right? And that would make sense because all the meltwater from the Himalaya would flow down and probably feed a lot of the rivers in China. It's the same thing with the Rockies and the Colorado River, right? In the U.S.
Exactly.
Just on a grander scale.
For sure. This is something to think about once the northern regions of the Arctic, I guess the Arctic is the north, once it melts, because Russia would have access to that part of the waterways. So Canada is kind of stuck in the middle there. Like, do we fight Russia if they decide to seize that part of melted glaciers? You know,
you get like into maritime law because at the end of every coastline you have a certain your border extends beyond that coastline. And then it's international water after that. But that doesn't mean that they can't put their ships in there.
Right. You think the U.S. Navy would get ahead of that? Probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like
they're planning on it.
Yeah, they're probably on it. Like there is more activity going on up there from what I've seen. Like the Canadian military is up there. Even Denmark, because Denmark owns Greenland, so they're active in that area too. The U.S., they're up in Australia. Because once if that does melt, you're able to cross the Arctic a lot faster and get into Europe and ship into Europe faster from Canada.
It's true.
And you can ship to China a lot faster. And Russia's kind of there, and it is in their economic interest to cooperate, because if they have like trains going to the coastline in the north, then you could just unload your cargo northern Russia, and then those trains go down into India and China, and you get like 2 billion people right there. So you have the biggest economic market right there, and there's already trains that go through Russia. So there's no reason why they should be getting in the way for their own economic interests. So it's just power.
Yeah.
See where that goes.
Yeah.
It's our children's problem now.
Talking about North Pole-ish, Alaska. So it's illegal to tie your dog to the roof of your car. Now,
I mean, that should be illegal everywhere.
Well, the question is, why are you even doing that in the first place? Especially you're in Alaska.
Probably from dog sleighs.
So you're transporting them to somewhere? So you tie your dogs to...
There's this one show I was watching where he didn't put his dog on the car. The dog was in a kennel in the car. The dog was fine. But what he would do is he was hunting, because there were cougars that were coming into a town. And this was like in a mountain town in Montana. And the cougars were going into the town, and he needed to chase away the cougars so that they wouldn't like start killing people, because cougars can kill humans, they can kill dogs, livestock. They can become very problematic. So they're trying to like push them back into the forest. So he would have a dog like in the kennel, and he would kind of be driving kind of slowly so the dog can pick up the scent. So now that's doing it properly. But if you imagine, like, if you were to try to like, say, do it the most, let's say, efficient way to get the dog to pick up the scent, you would strap the dog to the top of the car, and then just the dog's nose is like right in front of the car and able to sniff a lot easier, I guess, but not safe for the dog. Yeah.
Makes sense. Speaking of Alaska, I found a list of like dumb state laws. There's no explanation for some of them. It's just like rapid fire weird laws. But I could read some of the Alaska ones for you. See if any of these turn a head or two. So in Alaska, it's illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they are moose
What?
hunting. It's illegal. It's considered an offense in Alaska to push a live moose out of a moving airplane, because that's the thing that happens apparently. Moose are not allowed in barbershops at any time in Alaska, and moose may not be viewed from an airplane. What? I don't understand. There's so many questions.
Something.
Is this a real list?
Something really is going down in Alaska.
Yeah. There's another one for Alabama, but it's for like weird, like not weird, but little districts in Alabama. So in a place called Anniston, you may not wear blue jeans down Noble Street. This feels like an obscure law. Bear wrestling matches are prohibited. Dominoes may not be played on Sunday. It's illegal for a driver to be blindfolded while operating a vehicle. Duh. It's illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter.
Oh
in
yes,
church.
that one. Yeah, I came across
That's
that one.
okay.
It's kind of makes sense because you don't want to
It
like
makes sense.
disturb.
Yeah.
But what
it's
if
the
you
Lord's
just have
Day.
like your mustache just looks stupid and is that still
You
legal?
know, one of those that curves up, like you have it curved.
Yeah.
Right. Another one in Montgomery, Alabama. It's considered an offense to open an umbrella on a street. The reason is you don't want to spook horses.
What?
You can't, and of course, the most Alabama thing ever, you cannot chain your alligator to a fire hydrant. Very important. to
Oh,
follow
I
that
came
law.
across something similar where you can't park your elephant on the street. Like you can't tie your elephant on the street.
Where
I
is
forgot
this law?
where exactly, but
It's got to be a place that has elephants.
well,
right?
it's also a very old law, and apparently
Makes sense.
it had to do with transportation. So then they included elephants, so horses.
Curious where it is. Probably Florida.
Oh, I have one
Florida
about
has-
Florida.
Go for it.
I love how specific this law is. It's illegal to pass wind in a public place after 6 p.m. on Thursdays in Florida.
6 p.m. on Thursday. Okay, why?
I don't know.
On any
Like,
other
every
day,
other
you're
day of the
fine.
week is okay. You can just let it rip on Fridays, but no. Thursdays, no farting.
Oh, okay, we're in luck. So I dove into the Florida section of the dumb laws list.
Oh, nice.
And it turns out that Kojo's elephant law is actually from Florida. So if an elephant is left tied to a parking meter, the parking fee has to be paid just as it would for a vehicle. Good old Florida. Some other weird Florida laws. Florida law forbids rats to leave the ships that are docked in Tampa Bay. Why? How do you enforce this? In Florida, failure to tell your neighbor his house is on fire is illegal. And in Florida, it is illegal to fish while driving across a bridge. What? It's illegal to skateboard without a license in Florida.
Oh, I have one. It's
Yeah, go
illegal
for
to kill Bigfoot in British Columbia. The fine is $250,000. And is Bigfoot even real?
No one's been fined yet. So
But if you actually do kill Bigfoot, you would make millions off of the corpse. So you'd be fine.
you could pay
Yeah.
off the fine.
You'd be fine.
You'll be fine. No pun intended.
In Wales and Scotland, you cannot hold a salmon under suspicious circumstances.
Interesting.
What would those circumstances
Just
be?
as long as it's suspicious. The let's see, what was the
Okay.
law under?
So many questions.
Yeah. So it's Section 32 of the Salmon Act of 1986. So it's basically anyone who receives or disposes of any kind of salmon, and if they're believed to have illegally fished then that's suspicious circumstances.
Interesting.
But if you had received it from illegal fishing, it's kind of weird. Yeah. The maximum penalty is 2 years in imprisonment. I think it's just like an anti-poaching law. It's just kind of phrased weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can bring this home. Do you know about this one? This actually is related to Toronto. Do you guys know that it's illegal to climb a tree in Toronto?
I have heard that. I don't know why.
Is it really?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh.
Do you know why?
Because I've climbed a tree in Toronto. So, but nobody saw it. Nobody heard about it too. So,
But
you didn't hear it from me. I didn't say anything.
Allegedly.
You can't admit this on allegedly.
Yeah.
But I want to know why it's illegal.
Is it maybe you could fall and break a foot?
Why is it illegal to climb a tree in Toronto?
And in Ottawa too.
Toronto.
Ottawa has the same law. And apparently
the local law
guy was fined $365.
That's it?
Yeah.
For doing that. Huh. Where is it? Okay, so the local law states that no person shall interfere with a tree or part of a tree located on municipal property, including but not limited to attaching, affixing, or placing upon in any manner any object or thing to a tree or blah, 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 climbing a tree. Even though it may seem like a strange law, it's the least strange one because tree climbing could, in fact, be dangerous. I guess they're protecting the citizens and the tree.
So how do you get the cat down for your neighbor's cat?
You call
Yeah, it'd be
call
fine.
the firefighters.
Yeah, but then they get arrested. I just want to see I want to see the police perform raids on little kids with tree houses in their backyard.
Get down, Billy.
Down on the ground, down on the ground. The cops running after toddlers.
Imagine you're in jail, in prison, and then they're like, "What are you here for?" "Oh, I killed the man. Oh, I robbed the bank. I climbed the tree."
Yeah, 5-year-olds doing hard time.
Outrage all around.
Yeah, mind you, I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, according to our police, they released a statement previously due to all the rise in auto thefts in Toronto, that to make it easier for the criminals so that they don't break into your house, you should leave your key fob at the front door. Yeah,
saw that.
Yeah.
How is that not?
Yeah.
A troll.
Also, this is a couple weeks after they got their raise.
So
Unreal.
From what I was thinking, I think the idea is, so in Ghana we have a proverb that if you're showering and then someone comes and takes your towel is what you're gonna wrap yourself with when you get out of the shower, and you're running in the middle of the street chasing the mad person for taking your towel, right? So now who is the mad person? Mm-hmm. Is it you chasing after a mad person with your towel, or you're the crazy person? Right, so this analogy is pretty much like, so someone comes into your house and demands to take your Porsche. So,
Should
have your keys ready.
Yeah.
So you don't get killed. At least we can chase after the person.
I understand that's the intention, but it had the policemen doing their job, this shouldn't be an issue, because they're stealing cars, not wallets that can easily disappear. Cars are these big, large aluminum things with four wheels that end up going on cargo ships around the world. It's not hard to figure out where those cars are getting put into containers and then shipped from.
Right.
There's a handful of places you need to look.
Right.
Yeah. Just need more resources.
Yeah, is it also because the lack of staff?
Probably has a lot to do with it.
Could be. Yeah.
There's no budget. But yeah, back to Kojo's thing. Yeah, there's a lot of examples like that. Like I think in the States there was a burglar who broke in and like they tripped and hurt themselves in someone's house and they ended up suing the owner and I think they won.
Yeah.
Like there's so many stories like this where you're like, what am I reading?
Yeah.
What am I hearing?
Maybe that should be part of an episode.
Could be, yeah. There's a burglar who was fleeing the house and the front step was icy. He tripped and fell and he sued the homeowners.
Come on.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, we should do an episode on like weird hustlers.
There's another one where people broke into the house and then there was like a brother and he was babysitting his younger sisters and I guess the family had a gun, so he shot two of the burglars. One he killed, the other one he harmed. This is here in Ontario. And he is going to court for manslaughter.
Wow.
Yeah. But had they not broken into the house, they wouldn't have had that charge.
Right.
Wouldn't have been an issue.
Two wrongs don't make it right.
Isn't there a law that protects your house, your property, if something like that happens?
Not in Canada.
Oh.
United States, that child would have been totally fine.
That's what happened to the baby. The rapper at the grocery store.
I don't know.
Well, he was at the grocery store with his wife and kids, and then somebody came, hey, give me your blah, blah, blah. So he ended up killing the guy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Jeez.
The baby. Well, I mean, he had the right to do that, so.
Ended off on a more positive note. So this is in Samoa, but I'm surprised it's not like. Well, I mean, it's illegal in Samoa in terms of the law is concerned, but you would still face harsh punishment everywhere else in the world. So it's illegal in Samoa to forget your wife's birthday.
I think the one who passed the law was a woman, like a law, like, people who, it's like,
yeah.
I think it was a husband who was in the doghouse. That's who passed that law. He knew what he was doing.
There's this one good JCPenney commercial where this guy he buys like his wife a vacuum for her birthday, and so he ends up in the doghouse and there's like this like jail cell for men who did stupid shit to their wives. Like one guy would go out all night playing poker and whatnot, and the whole episode, like there's like a series of these ads that they produced, and it's just like they're just doing like hard time, like just sitting there like folding laundry, and then there's a court that's all women who are essentially hearing their case in terms of whether or not they get a second chance. And so eventually one of the guys, he gets out and he goes, just plays poker all night, and he ends up back into the doghouse. And then they're like, well, like, how are you going to, like, you're going to be in here for a long time. Like, what are you going to do about it? And then he opens up this jewelry box and there's like this beautiful set of earrings. And he's like, I'll be out of here by the evening. And then JCPenney.
I bet he played poker with those earrings.
Okay, the last one on my list is in a place in France. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It sounds like Sarpolre. Anyway, it's a place in France where you can't die without a pre-purchased burial plot. So
that's weird.
I mean, you don't plan to die in a place. You just stuff happens.
You gotta plan ahead.
But anyway, in this town, the cemetery is pretty much full, so the mayor had to come up with a solution. So in 2008, decided to pass on this law, and he stated that if offenders would be severely punished. How are you gonna punish a dead person?
Maybe their families pay somehow.
Probably the estate, yeah. I think this city, they don't have any land to bury. There's no more land. So, yeah, I heard that it's like, yeah, it's illegal to die in that city. So they just like, I don't know how they work it out, but they get buried somewhere else.
Well, that's grim. All right, join us next week when we... No, it's all good. It's all good. That was fun. We'll dive more into weird laws from around the world. But In the meantime, you can follow us on all the social medias, raisedeyebrow.podcast, or we're everywhere, or most places. And remember, kids, if you don't follow the law will follow you. Unless there's no police budget or there's corruption. In which case, you can probably get away with things. So.
Yep.
But be good, kids. Be good.